less than a mile from the Columbia River, for over 100 years, St. Paul has served the Vancouver community, bringing assistance and hope to those in need.
St. Paul's history of service stems back in Vancouver long before my time. They were here during the First World War, the Great Depression, World War II. They were providing food and other items that our individuals needed, and not just the residents. They were helping the soldiers. They were helping the shipyard workers and all of the families. So proud of them. Bless their hearts. We are so proud that we can offer real, authentic service to folks in need in the city of Vancouver, and it's a privilege to serve alongside all of the members and those that support St. Paul's Church. But I would like to extend a big thank you to all of the volunteers and the members of St. Paul for their service to our community. Thank you.
You know, I think it's really important to understand the history of a place to understand an organization and what they've done. And, you know, St. Paul's history of service, it goes back quite a ways. When we look at the archives and the articles from the last 120 years, we find that many local churches were providing the function of like a safety net for people. We learned that St. Paul's was active in so many different ways. I wasn't surprised to learn that their works would provide for the community protection, counsel, and housing. And this was even before World War I. I mean, this was, going way back. As I had a chance to go through the articles and read about what St. Paul's has done, I found that, in the 1930s, they were able to help people who had no way of making ends meet, no way of getting an income. And they actually opened up kind of an employment office for them. And then later on, they ended up establishing the Helping Hands Fund. And this was to be able to provide, clothing and different items for people in the community who weren't able to do this. And people were able to, keep their dignity by having it anonymously given to them. In the 1950s, they were active in supporting adoptions of Korean children. And then also they were able to work with the Fort Vancouver Seamen Center. The church's ministry in the downtown area was able to provide clothing and food for FISH, which is Friends in Service to Humanity. They were able to work with Alcoholics Anonymous and other 12-step recovery groups, Head Start, the YWCA's care program for homeless children, and then St. Paul's daycare programs. So many different groups and organizations they were able to work and support in the community. When you look at all the work that they've done and what they're doing today, there is this direct line that you can connect between the original founders and this work in the community now. And it's just incredible to think of that continuity of service and giving for the community. And we really have to thank them for that. But to do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly.
Welcome to Winter Hospitality Overflow. We are a ministry formed in 2003 in partnership with 42 other communities of faith and local service agencies in the Vancouver area. We provide hospitality, warm smiles, safety, meals during the coldest and wettest seasons of the year. We at St. Paul have been a part of the WHO for 17 years. We have provided our facility and we have beds for single men, 30 of them. Winter Hospitality, or WHO as we call it, are open 5 months every year from November through March. But recently, we have been blessed with a grant from the City of Vancouver that has allowed us, under the directorship of Outsiders Inn, to be open through the spring and the summer months. So we can continue to serve our 30 homeless men off the street with warm hospitality, a warm meal at night, safety to sleep, and a place to do laundry and meet with other fellas. So we give thanks to the City of Vancouver for their grant. We give thanks for Outsiders Inn to being willing to take over the directorship. And we give thanks to St. Paul Lutheran Church for providing the space.
I mean, honestly, it is a privilege to have stayed here over the years. When I stayed here, it was like the Cadillac of shelters. There was fried chicken and brownies. There's always brownies. And it just was like, this was the red lion of shelters to get the opportunity to come here. So when I did come here, I remember thinking, why couldn't all shelters be like this with hospitality? And then, just add in people that know the resources and know where to get things done. And that seems like all you'd be missing. So a few years down the road, and here I am, I have this opportunity to bring that added piece of knowing how to navigate the resources and how to find what it is people are missing, along with brownies. We still have brownies.
Well, I came back to the Pacific Northwest from the state of Alaska after having cancer and a divorce with the wife, and came back to Vancouver. I found myself sleeping in a vehicle. It was during that time that I was dealing with a whole lot of setbacks and disabilities from chemo. And so there was a lot of things I was at struggle with, also dealing with the loss of, through the divorce, loss of a wife, children, property, and house that we'd owned. Coming back here and being completely disabled, destitute, and homeless. Having to be in the streets, I crossed over from sanity to insanity. I was one of the guys you'd walk by in the street, find him talking to himself. Means the man I was then is completely different from the man I am now. St. Paul really came into my life during a time where being out in those elements literally would have killed me. The St. Paul's Share Who program, Outsiders In, I'm grateful to all. I was petrified to end up in a shelter. It wasn't something I desired. I heard a lot about things, but when I got here, I found out this isn't like other shelters. This actually is a place where the money I witnessed being put back into people of the street. It was here that after I left, I was able to finally again obtain housing. So all the things that St. Paul's Shelter did for me, I've been able to slowly give back. I used to love cooking and baking, and so I'm able to give back bakery goods, pastries and things of that nature. When somebody brought something in and from their own hands and from scratch from home, it brought that feeling back. And so I bake and I make pastries, and I bring those weekly to the men here at the center. Thank you, Who. Thank you, St. Paul.
I've been working with children for 24 years. Our daycare center offers services for children 6 weeks to 6 years not in school. We are part of the USDA food program and Early Achievers through the state of Washington, and we offer quality curriculum for the children to learn throughout the day. We encourage 50 plus children to explore the world around them. We do have an open door policy inviting parents to come in and see their children throughout the day, check on them, maybe have lunch, participate in an activity. We are open Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I would like to thank the parents for their participation and also the kids and staff.
We recently moved here from out of state, and we both work full-time, so we were looking for some care for our son Jack and found St. Paul Daycare. They've just been fabulous. They've taken wonderful care of him, and he loves everybody on staff and has made tons of friends. We're very confident with the care we receive, and we just want to thank St. Paul for being a part of our community and being there for us when we need to go to work every week.
Recently, we began the Agape Fund, a ministry that helps people in financial crisis. This is a great opportunity for folks to give beyond their normal giving. The support from the Agape Fund has gone a long way to help families and individuals in need. Sometimes a family just needs a little help to make ends meet. The community has come to count on St. Paul as a source for help when all else fails. To all of you who have given so graciously, thank you.
At Christmas time last year, my husband lost his job, and I started working 60-hour weeks in order to make our monthly ends meet. But I was also 6 months pregnant, and I knew I couldn't sustain it. I didn't know how we were going to pay our medical bills. I reached out to St. Paul Lutheran Church, and the Agape Fund helped us enormously. Even though we were not members of the congregation, they gave us food and they paid some of our utility bills. And now my husband is working again. We are in a much better place, and we have a healthy baby boy. Thank you so much, St. Paul Lutheran Church.
We have seen some of the ways that the people of St. Paul Lutheran Church give thanks every day. We are called to live out our faith. We are called to act with justice. For this work, we give thanks. From our hearts, we say thank you. Thank you to our neighbors. Thank you to our city, the city of Vancouver. Thank you to our hardworking volunteers. Thank you to all who donate money and materials to keep the work going. And thank you, Lord. It's God's work, and it's our hands. Come work for justice with us.
What is good and what the Lord requires of thee, He has shown thee. Oh man, what is good and what the Lord requires of thee, but to do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with thy God, but to do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with thy God. Walk humbly with thy God. He has shown